You were going to explain to us how you wrote Darkness and Light.
Yeah, so we'll do a little, here's how I write a song moment. Okay. So with this particular song, Darkness and Light, I wrote it with a guy named John Ryan, who also, he's more of a pop songwriter, so it's kind of funny. This song is one of the least pop songs, I think, on the album. But when we got together, we had been talking about the Alabama Shakes album and Sound and Color and how much I liked it. And we had listened to that first song, which is also called Sound and Color, on that album. And we loved the groove of it, like the actual drum beat of it. And so when we were writing the demo version of this song, we actually loosely based it on the groove from Sound and Color, even though that's not the version that you hear now, because it's a completely different beat now. Anyway, so it started with a groove, kind of like a shuffle beat, just kind of like the Sound and Color beat. And then we started playing chords on top of it on the piano. And so I started playing, and then pretty soon after I was playing on top of the beat, I was kind of establishing what the chord pattern was going to be, and that's kind of how I approach every song. I figure out what the chord pattern is going to be, then I start singing a little bit, and the words have no meaning at first. It's like, and it's just nonsense. And so, but that nonsense starts to direct me because I know what the groove is, I know what the chord pattern is, I know what the melody of the song is, and I actually know the kind of the bounce and the rhythm of what the lyric is going to be before there actually is a lyric. And then there's certain words that I'll kind of mumble as I'm mumbling things, and they'll kind of stand out. Like Fire and Ice was one of the first things I wrote for that. Fire and ice, and I didn't even know what it meant yet, but eventually, as we were talking about what the whole Fire and Ice meant and what the groove of the song felt like, it felt like this kind of powerful, dynamic, sexual experience where it was kind of like an opposites attract situation, kind of like when two people come together that are different, but there's something special about their chemistry, and there's some danger and all of that. And once we kind of figured that was the kind of basic theme of what the song was going to be, then you just try to figure out what those exact words are going to be that will express that. And a lot of it was about opposites, so fire and ice, darkness and light, the end of one life, beginning in another, the end of one life and the beginning of another, which is the idea of two people forming a new life together and ending their lives separately. So all of those things were like playing with the push and pull of two different things coming together to become one. And so lyrically, that was what we were trying to do, and then eventually you just keep working on it until you get there. And so I use that model of the melody that I sing. I record it usually, the nonsense melody with no lyric on it as a guide, and then I'll just write the lyrics eventually for those that make sense with the song and with the theme of what I'm trying to express. So that's how I write a song.
You said the first song on the album says you're going to break the rules. I mean, was this album a way of rupturing the way you'd worked before, or?
Well, I thought, it's funny because that song, I Know Better. So I Know Better, I don't know if you guys have the album, but I Know Better, it kind of starts out saying, a few things about singing what you know and being true to yourself and disregarding kind of outside voices that might tell you to go one way or the other, and just making music that's honest. It's also about history and legacy and thinking about those that have come before us and honoring that legacy. And it's kind of a song about kind of self-examination as well, and thinking about like what my own sense of my responsibility as an artist is. And I wanted this album to reflect all of that. Not because I didn't like what I had done before, not because I didn't feel proud of what I had done before, but I felt like I hadn't made an album yet that captured all of who I was in the most honest way that I could. And my attempt was to try to do that with Darkness and Light.
Well, what had you missed previously?
Well,
I mean, there's lots of changes through your whole catalog.
Yeah, and I think at the times I was making them, they felt right. Mm-hmm. But I think just living more gave me more perspective, gave me more things to think about, more to talk about. Like when I talk more about death a little bit on this album, and the idea that we're all going to die, and that like what's going to happen after we die with the work that we've done. I think more about I thought more about what it meant to be a father, because I wasn't a father before on the previous albums, and what it meant to be a husband because I wasn't a husband before. And so I think part of it was just having new experiences and really being honest about my thoughts about them. But I do think this album has a little bit more pessimism than some of my other albums too, because I think, or just kind of being a little less kind of sunny about the world, I think just because having lived more, I see the good, but I also see all the bad too. And I didn't want to ignore that when I was writing these songs.
Going forward, I mean, we're going into a different political era.
Yeah.
Speaking of farewell parties.
Yes.
I mean, do you see that as something you have to address in your songs?
I think we have to be honest in our songs, and I always quote Nina Simone that it's an artist's duty to reflect the times that you're living in. That doesn't mean every song needs to be political, but it does mean you should be honest about what you're feeling and what's important to you. And I think if that incorporates what's happening in presidential politics and in national politics, then so be it. I think a lot of us as artists are going to reflect on what's happening in Washington right now, and we don't know what's going to happen yet, because part of kind of the thing about that guy is he's very unpredictable. He made a lot of promises, but I don't know if he intends to keep them. Some of his promises were terrible, so I hope he doesn't keep them. Some of his promises, promising to create more jobs, I would love it if there's more manufacturing jobs in America. I would love it if people like my father, he's retired now, but I know what it's like to have your income depend on factories staying intact. And if his presidency leads to more of those staying intact, then I think that's a good thing for America, and it's a good thing for a lot of human lives in America. If it means taking health care away from people, then I want him to fail. But if it means making sure everyone has access to affordable health care, I don't care what you call it. You can call it Trump care, whatever you want to call it. But if that's what his definition of success is, then I want him to succeed. Right. So I'm not clear on what his presidency is going to be, so I'm not clear on how artists are going to respond, including myself, because we just don't know rhetoric versus in practice what it's going to be.
Thank you for being here today. I'll do one more song. I want to thank John Perellis for being such a great interviewer and such a great journalist. Thank the New York Times. And thanks to all of you. What would I do without your smart mouth? Drawing me in and you kicking me out. You've got my head spinning, no kidding, I can't pin you down. What's going on in that beautiful mind? I'm on your magical mystery ride, and I'm so dizzy, don't know what hit me, but I'll be alright. My head's underwater, but I'm breathing fine. You're crazy and I'm out of my mind. 'Cause all of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning. 'Cause I give you all of me, and you give me all of you. Oh, how many times do I have to tell you? Even when you're crying, you're beautiful too. The world is beating you down. I'm around through every move. You're my downfall, you're my muse, my worst distraction, my rhythm and blues. I can't stop singing, it's ringing in my head for you. My hands underwater, but I'm breathing fine. You're crazy and I'm out of my mind. 'Cause all of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I'll give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning. 'Cause I give you all of me, and you give me all of you. Oh, cards on the table, we're both showing hearts, risking it all. Whoa, it's hard. 'Cause all of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I'll give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning. 'Cause I give you all of me, and you give me all of you. Oh, I give you all of me, and you give me all of you. Oh, thank you. Have a good night.